Portugal. There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and podcast. Yes, and if you're thinking I'm looking especially effervescent and glowing this morning, I've had a little change around in the studio, and I have a more erect posture this morning. I was going to make a stand-up studio. It's not quite come to that yet. I just figured if I'm sat on my bottom for 90 minutes, there are probably better ways of attacking that, approaching that. They're a little bit more conducive to physical fitness. So I think if I stand up, I'm out of the screen. But I'm perched, which gives me a nice straight back, and change the lighting. I think it looks a whole lot better. Let me know what you think. How are you doing this morning? Oh, forgot the ticker tape. The drawback at the moment is I have to look down. I've still got a few tweaks to do in the studio, but I have to look down when I'm writing or finding things on the screen here. And I just need to find out, or let you know actually, that James is here at 9 o'clock, of course, with his view as an American settling here in Portugal, in Ericeira specifically. And on this, what are we? Is it the second or third Monday of November of the month? Anna will be with us. She of the Immersion Experience here in San Martin de Porto, which was a great success. Let's have a look. What did I say last time she was here? Let's know how you're doing in the chat. Oh, yeah, okay. So how was your bon fin de semana? Lots of great footage and video from people's weekends. Today, Anna rejoins us with a Portuguese Immersion Experience update. Okay, that's good. Let's do that. Let's just take that little bit out there. And yes, there's always something I forget to do. Maybe I should make a list. Okay, but if I just chop that bit out there, I think this will do the trick. Yes, okay. All right, let me just see if that works on the screen there. Hola, bon dia, alegria. How's your bon fin de semana? Let us know how you're doing in the chat today. Anna rejoins us with a Portuguese Immersion Experience update. Okay, yeah, I think we've got the gist of that. And a nice little bit of rolling eye candy along the bottom of the screen. If my face wasn't enough for you, you can look at the letters scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Unless you're watching on the podcast, good morning to you. Mwah! Beautiful podcast listeners. Good morning to you, the Cinderellas of the Good Morning Portugal community. How was your weekend? Don't hear from you too often, but if you do want to drop me a line, do so on carl@goodmorningportugal.com or send me a WhatsApp message. The studio mailbag, 913-590-303. Okay, how's everybody doing? Let's just do a quick check-in before we go to all of that lovely video footage that's been sent in from... If I just quickly tell you, of all the places in Portugal we've visited virtually, thanks to our community this weekend, that'll be Albufeira. Thanks to Doug and a 2-minute taster. Filomena's been in Golgão. We've had Anna in VRSA, of course. João de Norte in Ponte de Lima. Andy, a couple of videos from Andy. Here's a quick weather report from Andy. That doubles as today's weather report, no doubt. That's somebody on a bicycle. That wasn't easy to capture, was it, by Randy? This is somebody in the Bairrada district. We'll be hearing more about the Bairrada district, of course, if Andy has anything to do with it. He maintains it's the party capital of Portugal. I think he's right, and I'll show you why in a little while. But this is a weather report from there. This is how people ride bicycles in that part of the country. With umbrella erected, cycling along. It's one of those skills, I think, like carrying water on your head, is cycling with an erected umbrella here in Portugal. Thank you very much for that, Andy. We'll probably embark with you in just a moment in one of your little trips around the countryside. Yes, we're going to Golgan, we're going to PDL with João de Norte, we're going to VRSA with Anna, and we'll be going to Albufeira with Dougie as well. So let's get started. After we've said a few hellos, we've got T-Duck, who's got a special guest working with Owen. Got a lovely picture from T-Duck and Owen, who are working together on this sort of thing.
Featherman Friday.
Thank you, gentlemen, for thinking of us and knocking up a few jingles. Look, they're looks a bit cold in the studio there, Owen. They're working on some jingles for the Good Morning Portugal show. If you've got any ideas for them, I've sent one already to them, and I trust them completely, incidentally, to come up with some corking work. If there's a jingle you'd like to hear, we can. I can't guarantee they'll do it, but we can certainly send them a serving suggestion, can't we, and some ideas. So thank you, gentlemen. Excellent stuff. Lovely to see your faces on the screen this morning. And let's go back to see who else is here this morning. I'm sure the coach is there. Coach Turner is in. We got dad jokes for later on as well, I see. So yeah, Deagle was in at 7:43. He's on the Dr. Bayard's at the moment. Sent me a picture of his opened packet of Dr. Bayard's. Now, Deagle would appear to be one of those people that when he gets a bag of sweets, he just tears it right down the middle. That I find a little bit awkward, actually. I don't know what that says about me, my personality. I prefer to tear a neat corner across the top of a sweet packet and cereal packets, and my kids don't. They do what Deagle's done here, which tends to send cereal and granola and muesli flying around to every corner of the kitchen, and Jimmy Choo has to come in and do a bit of a cleanup job. But so sorry to hear you've got a bit of a scratchy throat over there in Belfast, but great to see that you've got the Dr. Bayard's out already that you no doubt picked up while you were over here. Good morning to you, Deagle, and your quick weather report, 11 degrees. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a very wet Belfast this morning, but it's warm and mild, often the way with rain, isn't it? It makes it a bit milder temperature-wise. Here we have 18 degrees outside and 20 in the studio, nearly 19 degrees outside. The weather probe in the back passage is telling us this morning. I have that very annoying scratchy throat from yesterday morning, a little cough. Love to poke my finger into my neck and give it a good scratch. Is that internally or externally? I'm on the Dr. Bayard. So he doesn't like to suck on a doctor first thing in the morning. Well done. Now, my mixing desk, I'm leaning over here to press the jingles, and they've moved because of the studio rejig. Morning, Deagle, then. Bon dia a todos to Coach. How are you doing, Coach Turner? Bem-vindo a nova semana. Oh, yeah, a new week. A boa semana a todos. Off grandchild grappling a little later. Mrs. T has been having withdrawal symptoms. Oh, what, from Madeira? Goodness knows how she'll be when the little one goes to school. Withdrawal symptoms, not, well, maybe from Madeira, but also from looking after the little one, who you're looking after today. So lots of love to you both. God Squad tip of the day coming up in a little while after a few videos with accompanying T-Duck commentary as well. Very importantly, Baddy update this morning. I was in touch with Baddy, who's in Iceland. If you didn't know, there was some volcanic activity over in Iceland. And she said to me, we have water on hand. I was asking how she was preparing and making sure that she was safe over there. The car ready to go if we need to evacuate, but we are 20 kilometers away from the active site. 20 kilometers. Not in immediate danger. Will be affected by it if something does happen at 20 kilometers, but a safe distance to view from and be poised and ready to evacuate by the sound of it. Not in immediate danger if you're concerned about Baddy. Ours is more an inconvenience if the power and water supplies get disrupted. So fingers crossed they won't be. And lots of love to you and family over there, Baddy. James was in at just after 8. You'll see him, of course, on his slot at around 9, about 20 minutes time. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz segunda a todos. Como foi o vosso fim de semana? We're going to get a lot of feedback about people's weekends, James. Don't worry about that. And he's in as well. Lovely footage. Teaser footage from our weekends of an Englishman, an Irishman, and other folk walking into bars. Thank you, Andy, for putting that together. Absolutely brilliant. We'll feature that sometime this week. Aviva's in as well, as is Anna. Lee McGrady with a good morning, people. And Jonathan Matthews. Nice to see more of you, Jonathan Matthews. Good morning to you too. Where there are gale force winds and horizontal rain in Pembrokeshire. And of course, Dougie is over here from Wales at the moment. I think he's delighted to be in Albufeira or thereabouts down in the Algarve anyway. So good to see you, Jonathan. And thank you, everybody else, for being here. Let's get back to more hellos. If you're lurking, do say hello. We're a very friendly bunch here, I like to think. Let's play the first of those videos then. Let's go to Andy in the Bairrada.
For that, these are the old style wine tanks they used to put the wine in to keep it. As it's fermenting, there's some over there discarded. This is that those stones that they use for the calçada, which is what they call that for the roads and the pavements over here. They have, these guys do it. It's what you see all the pretty patterns made out of. Another one of those, a few more of those various wine tanks. That's an Ericeira tree. Someone's been building a splendid new house up here. This is someone's like barn where they keep all their tractors and farm equipment. What else can we see here? An old broken pot. The roof tiles and other tiles. More old style roof tiles like we've got in our house. Nip over like that. There's a well.
That is such a beautiful vignette, isn't it? A little portrait of Portuguese life in the countryside. And he continues.
Bit of a damp one this morning. Not so long either, just in case I get caught by something.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go down through here. Oh. This stuff. Then we're out along this path. There we are. Back to civilization. Well, or one part of it anyway. Just spitting. It's what they call fool's rain in Portugal and in Portuguese. I think it's because only a fool goes out in it, or only a fool gets wet in it. Not too sure. Look, people have been planting lots of little pine trees, and these little ones here, and they like cut them, splice them I think, put brown paper bags on, oh, just a few rabbits been there, put brown paper bags on them to make them branch out more, like see they're sort of like all bushy at the top, and I'm pretty sure it's so they, for fir cones, so that they grow more fir cones. There's more of the top branches to grow fir cones on. I'm pretty sure that's what they do it for. But yeah, in the summer you see them all with little brown paper bags on the tops of them, where they've obviously spliced them or something with them. Anyway, there we are. That's that. And that's us. And that's that. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very, very much. So thoughtful by Randy there with a little flavour of the Bairrada countryside. And that district of the country that he believes is the party capital. Look at this. Those are all the events that he's put on the Gumper map for us. And what I'll do now actually is give you a little taster of what was going on over the weekend over there for San Martino, the San Martino Festa and Magusto, as it's also known. I think he's absolutely right. It is perhaps the country with the most events going on. But we don't know. It's by Randy is by far the most voluminous contributor of events. As somebody, well, many people have asked us, have they not, about an events guide. We've done it with the Gumper map. So if you want to represent your part of the country, do so. Get on the Gumper map, as Andy has done there. That all those points of interest, events, flags, pins there are things going on just in his part of the countryside, as you can see there up in the north, Aveiro, and down nearly as far as Coimbra. It's a really great part of the country. Really enjoyed living there. And it would appear to be the party capital. Just take a look at some of these that were happening this weekend. And we've got San Martino Festa in Ancash, there in, where's that, Mira. This is all from the last weekend. San Martino in Monsaroche, that's not that's the same weekend but a different kind of event. That would have been beautiful, actually. Make a note. We do have this complaint, really, don't we, that we don't know what's going on. We're doing our best here to keep you abreast of what's going on here in Portugal. Portuguese people know when these things are on. They don't feel the need to tell everybody else. So we're doing our best on the Gumper map here. That looked like a great thing to go to. The Busaco Palace is beautiful. And there you see a guided tour. Another San Martino Festa party in Uca, in the Bairrada. Spit roast there on Broken Car Road. I wonder what that is. Talking of broken cars, got a hilarious meme to share with you. When it comes to broken cars or cars that are a bit prangy, I'll put it like that. So that's Zumba Sardinhada spit roast for San Martino in Aguas Boas there. Magusto in, where's that? Bajedas de Bairro as well. Another one in Pedreira de Vilarinho in the Bairrada as well. Another one, look at this, a Moreira de Gandara in the Bairrada as well, celebrating San Martino, of course. And is that one? That's a fishy feast. A fishy feast in Mamarosa, where you have the big breastfeeding mural. Sign up for the iconic dish bacalhau with punched potatoes at the star of the show there. And that's with soup, of course, as well, with desserts, drinks, and coffee, all in for €17.5. Superb stuff. Another look, roasted chestnuts in Avalias de Camino over the weekend. More Marval, San Martino Festa yesterday with a festival lunch. Another Mogusto in Vilarinho de Bairro. He's right, isn't he? I mean, this is the party capital. To commemorate World Wine Tourism Day. I didn't even know World Wine Tourism Day was happening. That's incredible. With a turismo, a little bit of a touristic event there for wine. Eno, of course, Eno Culture in Malhada. And I think finishing here with some singing and dancing, free dancing afternoons, the Bombeiros Voluntarios de Belas. Sintra. I wonder why he's put that in, or is that a different? Oh no, it's the Sintra. Oh, if you're very lucky, our very own Twinkle Toes Antonio F may even take you for a spin around the dance floor. Here you go. He's renting out Antonio F as well as putting things on the Gumper map so conscientiously and generously. There, look at all that stuff going on in the Bairrada. I think he keeps that crown, doesn't he, as the best ambassador of events here in Portugal and a great ambassador for his part of the country, the Bairrada. Okay, let's go elsewhere now. Thank you so much, Andy, for your continued and marvelous work there. Should we go for a 2-minute taster? It's a jolly lovely morning, lovely boy, down there in the Algarve. I don't think this is from this morning. You've got to give him a chance to produce these things, and produce them he does. I mean, these are prolific. Dougie, thank you very much for this from Albufeira. We'll also be going to Ponte Lima, to Golgão, and to VRSA this morning. Thanks, everybody.
Good morning, Portugal, and it's a jolly fine morning right here in the Algarve. Time for one of our 2-minute tasters.
Oh, very good. That puts a bit of a pep in your step, doesn't it, on a Monday morning? Excellent stuff. Albufeira, then. Thank you very much, Dougie. And a quick deep thought of the day, then. Let's go to this. Thank you, T-Duck, for this deep thought, then, from Francois de la Rochefoucauld, the second Duke of La Rochefoucauld. Prince de Marsillac was an accomplished 17th century French moralist. You know, if I was to be invited to a party and I was hearing that there was a French moralist there, my heart would sink a little bit. I'd be thinking to myself, I hope I'm not sat next to the French moralist. Anyway, let's see what he's got to say here. And author of Maxime's portraying the callous nature of human conduct. Okay, now we're talking. We all have strength enough to endure the misfortunes of others. I wonder what that means. I'm not sure what that deep thought means this morning from Francois de la Rochefoucauld. We all have strength enough to endure the misfortunes of others. Is that to be compassionate and helpful? Or it's like it's easier to see other people struggling in a kind of schadenfreude kind of way? Thank you very much, T-Duck, for that. We'll come back to your dad jokes a little later on, which you say aren't really dad jokes, but it's the best I could do on short notice. They're very good. Very good indeed. Thank you very much. I know you're very busy at the moment, probably right now, tuned into the show, multitasking. Oh, this just in. I finally found natural peanut butter. Oh, my goodness. Well done, Aviva. No. It's an important moment, isn't it, in the life of a foreigner? If you're missing your peanut butter, we'd love our peanut butter here. I think the whole family loves peanut butter here. It's hard to find in Madeira. She's finally found it. Happy. I mean, and, you know, if you're really struggling, we'll send you some from the mainland. In return, why don't you send us some punch and we'll send you some I guess that's quite a little bit difficult to transport, isn't it? But we'd be delighted. If you're really struggling, we can't see anybody struggling and missing things like peanut butter. So I'm sure we can create care packages and send them over. Carl, I think you would go out of your way. I think you would go out of your way to sit next to the French moralist. I would not. It's not the French bit that bothers me. It's the moralist. I mean, you know, like you'll love him. Francois is coming to the party. He's a French moralist. We thought we're going to sit him next to you. I'm like, oh, you know, I think I would watch from afar and ascertain the cut of his jib before getting too close to a French moralist. I had an uncle who was a French moralist. You know, God rest his soul. He's a very interesting fella. Lawrence McCarthy is here. Look at this. Lawrence or Larry, if I may call you Larry. Larry and Linda not signing in from the desert of Arizona. Great to see you both here. But in Praia de Luz in the Algarve, great here, but missing San Martinho de Porto and Nazaré. But the sun is okay. So I think you've got some sun down there by the sound of it. Lovely to spend some time with you over the last couple of weekends. Anna's on, of course, who you know. And it was great to meet you, and not only meet you, but spend a lot of time in your company over the last week or so. You would need to ask so many questions. Sarah, not letting it lie, accusing me of wanting to sit next to a French moralist this morning or at a dinner party. Is it true that Brits have yet to discover the joy of peanut butter and jelly? It is. And there's a really good reason for that, Joao de Nort, whose video we're going to play in just a moment. That's such a terrible idea, Joao de Nort. Next time I see you, which I think will be quite soon, should we do it? Should we video it? Try something not Portuguese. Try something American. Okay, I think you are. Own that. Own that, Mrs. Taylor. Oh, maybe I'm talking about me. I think you would like to sit next to the French moralist. And I would like to sit on the other side of you, sat next to the French moralist, and see how that turns out. Peanut butter and jam. I love it. Owen, what happened to you, man? Okay. All right, let's play that. Since we've been talking about peanut butter and jelly. And did you see Owen said it correctly, jam? Yeah, I'm a bit upset now. French moralist and peanut butter and jelly. It's all going a little bit awkward for me this morning. Let's go to the rooftops of Pont Lima.
This is the lovely view from the Centro de Interpretação de Promoção de Vinho Verde. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's the Center for the Interpretation and Promotion of Vinho Verde. A wonderful museum here in Ponta Lima. And this is the view from up on the roof.
The wonderful voice there of João de Nort, even if he does have some funny habits when it comes to eating things. Oh dear, nothing so satisfying as a toast PBJ sandwich. Okay, I'll try it. I do not approve. I'll say that right from the get-go here, but maybe we should do that. And I guess we need to have the right ingredients for it to work properly. We need to get some proper machine-made sliced square bread. Some strawberry jam, possibly, and some smooth, probably not crunchy peanut butter, I'm thinking. Do we have butter on that as well? I wonder. I think my children are drifting into this habit because of all the YouTubing they do and watching American folk on YouTube. So it sounds like I might be on that slippery slope, not literally, but maybe literally, of peanut butter and jam. Grilled now. The Cisco Kid was a friend of the Slug, which is James's long name this week. A grilled PB&J, yum. Okay, I think he'll... Well, you and me need to talk, James. We will do in a few minutes. Let's see if I can squeeze in. I was sent this photo, and forgive me for thinking, what on earth is going on here? Where has that man got his hand? We're going to find out in the video that I'm about to play. Thank you, Filomena, for keeping us abreast of what's going on up there or over there, I should say, for me, in Golgal.
Tá tapado.
Ah, é isso. Ah.
Depois vai crescer e vai ficar como aquela. Mesmo aqui, a criança também está tapado.
Ah, pois.
Tem 6 meses.
You see, they say that's not a safe place to stand behind a horse there. And then when you start messing around with its tail, he's a brave guy, isn't he? Must know what he's doing. Must be a bit of a horse whisperer. And if you want a ponytail, you know, men and women, I guess, it's a look some gentlemen like, isn't it? As well as the ladies, you can have. Oh, I think it might be too late now over in Golgal to have that done to your human hair. James knows how to do that. He used to be a crimper, as we say in the UK. I wonder if he ever did a nice big ponytail for a human being. Probably nothing that big. Let's stay in Golgal with Filomena. Thank you, Filomena, for keeping us up to date with what's been going on there. You've been hanging out with the stars. Here's Berg, I think, over there on the right, who is a Portuguese singing sensation performer. I believe over there on the left in the foreground there with a traditional Portuguese plate. There are imperials there. There's a lovely bottle of, I recognize that bottle of red wine, and chips and salad. I imagine he was eating a nice bit of fish or meat there, bread on the table. I'm feeling really hungry with that picture from Golgal. There's a still of that fella there, which really threw me when Filomena sent that to me, I'll be honest with you. And some lovely pictures of the equestrian activity that's going on there. Oh, look, what a beautiful picture. And Carlos Relvas's studio. Shame we couldn't get to go there this year, but we will at some point. He was the person who popularized photography here in Portugal. Quite the dandy, and had that amazing studio built there. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Okay, let's go to a last bit of video then this morning before we say hello to James. This is some footage from Golgal, thanks to Gilda. Thanks to Filomena. And thanks to everybody, basically, who sent in video from their weekend's activities in the last few days. It's been absolutely brilliant to share all of that this morning. Here's Golgal. That was classic stuff, wasn't it? The jingle bells of a sleigh and a horse doing what horses do on films. I didn't think they actually did that in real life in quite that classic way. That's superb, evoking all sorts of memories. And that's a video you can actually smell, isn't it? I could smell that scenario there. We can't keep it hanging about any longer. It's 1 minute past 9. Roll VT! Oh, yes. Hola, bom
The
dia.
Cisco Kid was a friend of Slug. He'd drink whiskey. Poncho used a mug.
I do not know that work.
No? Oh, it's an old, who was that? Was that War? Yeah, anyway.
Oh, is that, I'm not familiar with them either.
Okay. Well, really big in the early 70s in the US.
Really? Okay. Well, others I'm sure will be familiar with them and their work. And of course, the rather controversial peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it's not, is it a sandwich? Is it on toast? What's going on?
Yeah, PB&J is a sandwich between
Right,
two slices of bread.
Oh, but you've grilled yours. You've got another stage.
Well, I've tried that too, like a grilled cheese where you actually, how I learned to prepare grilled cheese is you toast the outside of each slice of bread, put the cheese in the middle, and then grill it up or fry it up on each side. So it gets a nice golden brown, buttery outside and a nice melty inside. Well, you just put peanut butter and jelly in there instead, or jam. I mean, PB&J stands for peanut butter and jelly. That's how people say it, but it doesn't have to be jelly, just sweet fruit deliciousness. And it can be crunchy peanut butter. You can make it any way you want.
Really?
Yes.
Point of order from Lord Gilchrist, who I think we should defer to on these matters. It's not actually jelly, it's jam.
Well, the distinctions we make in the United States is jelly it's basically kind of like Jell-O. It's clear and fruit flavored and sweet, but there's no seeds or fruit or pulp in it. And jam has all the stuff.
Okay. Thank you for sorting this out. And it looks like I'll be trying this soon, trying something not Portuguese. For Aviva, it evokes all kinds of memories from childhood. I'm sure it does that for many people, as John's saying here. Oh dear, nothing so satisfying as toasted.
Well, I've come to realize around food that it's our love of food is almost solely emotionally based.
Yeah, right.
It's whatever we ate that made us feel good, that brought us good memories or warm. I guess there may be some foods that make you feel like you want to vomit because that's what they did to you at some point. But
at the other end of the spectrum, absolutely, yes.
But very emotionally related. So, it's why, Americans can go, how can the Portuguese love this so much? And the Portuguese can say about American food or English food, what
were they thinking?
Beans on toast? Why is that delicious? That kind of thing. And it has nothing to do with the flavor. It has all to do with the emotions that the food evokes. I finally figured that out.
They're triggers. You talk about the word trigger is used so much now, but there it is right there, isn't it? It's a triggering experience, isn't it? These childhood foods, and it triggers memories and feelings of the time in which we ate them, and by repetition, I guess, as adults, we've deepened those associations. And then when we're miles away, as Aviva's probably doing right now, miles away from home, might be a wet morning, a wet Monday morning, peanut butter on the toast, beautiful, anchored into beautiful feelings. So why not?
Absolutely.
And that's how they get away with charging 3, 4, 5 times the price for these things as well.
Well, speaking of triggering, it wasn't really triggering, but I had my very first American fast food yesterday. I've been here over 2 years and have not had any American fast food. but we were at the mall in Torres Vedras yesterday, and I said, you know, one of the things I feel sort of dedicated to is to try the fast food in Portugal to see if it's any different than the fast food in the US. And I can state absolutely that at Burger King anyway, because that's what I chose, the Whopper and the fries are virtually identical to the United States.
And that's how it's meant to be, isn't it? That is how it's meant to be. You know, you're supposed to be able to eat a Big Mac anywhere in the world and it tastes the same. And that is one of my, actually, I used to eat a Big Mac and fries with my dad. We used to go out on a Friday night to the very first, as Vitor calls them, the MC Donald's restaurant in London. One of the first few that popped up in the 80s. And I would go and eat with him, and I loved it. And to this day, it's just exactly what we're talking about. A Big Mac and fries, I absolutely love. Now, would you confirm, I think Hank's theory, this is, that the ingredients are somewhat better. Although they taste the same, there's a more freshness to the ingredients, possibly the salad, for example, because they do source things locally. They have to make it to the formula, don't they? But of course, they're not flying over frozen patties of beef from the United States. They're making everything here to a recipe. Would you say it was fresher? Did you feel a little more healthy?
Well, it was only fresher because it had just been made. I mean, in terms of what I saw and what I consumed, you know, it had just been made. It hadn't been sitting under the heat lamps for any time at all. It came off the grill and came onto my tray. It was the place was so busy that all the food, they were just scrambling to put it fresh on the tray. So in that regard, fresh, yes. In terms of the vegetables and, you know, the ingredients, I would imagine, yes, it would be fresher. I mean, pretty much all the produce is fresher, if for no reason, by virtue of the size of the country. It doesn't, you know, it's grown locally basically everywhere. So it's only days old as opposed to weeks or sometimes even, you know, a month or more old, depending on where it's being shipped from. So
that's reassuring.
But I didn't taste it in the flavor. I mean, if you're looking at onions, tomato, and lettuce, so, you know, typically if you eat the tomatoes separately, I find that, you know, fresh, ripe tomatoes taste much better than something that's been shipped in green and had to mature, you know, on the shelf.
Yeah.
But in terms of the overall flavor, I was actually very surprised. I thought there would be something different about it that, you know, that was noticeable, and to me, wasn't. So I did notice that most of the Portuguese that were around me that were buying Burger King got whatever was on a brioche bread.
Oh, did they?
As opposed to the standard, you know, white bread, sesame seed bun. But I had to go absolute traditional to satisfy my test.
That's you sophisticated Ericeira people. I've noticed that Portuguese.
No, this is in Torres Vedras.
Oh, Torres Vedras.
Yeah,
I think I've been to that mall there.
Yeah, it's Auchan. Something. I think it's the Auchan Mall. I
might be confusing it with Torres Novas, but yeah, is it quite an old one as they go?
I think so. I mean, you get on the inside, and all the malls look the same, basically.
Yeah, but some more up to date than others, right? Some are looking a bit shabby.
It looks like it's been there a while.
Yeah, that might be the one I'm thinking of. And did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy that trip down memory lane and the dip into your culture?
Well, again, I was not big into fast food in the U.S., so, you know, I had gotten away from that a long time ago. But it did take me back to moments of just being able to go get something to eat because I was hungry, and it was okay. Burger King was one of my preferred fast food burger places, you know. So there, yeah, it did. Sitting there, I could have been in any Burger King that I'd ever been to.
Right,
that's how it felt.
If ever you need to feel that feeling, you know what to do. Yeah,
but it didn't bring childhood memories or anything like that because I just didn't have any related to fast food.
Interesting. You just wanted to try it and see what happened. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure others will share their favorites as well. We talked about peanut butter and, of course, peanut butter and jelly or jam. Let's just conclude on that because there is quite the spectrum of jams or jellies here. Jam is best. In order of preference, raspberry jam then to go with. That's easy. I find that's easier to locate here in Portugal as well. Then blackberry, then strawberry, and last grape.
And I have to say, I've never had a grape jam. I've only had grape jelly. I don't know if they make a jam from grapes, but I haven't
Grape
had
wines
it.
think
So,
alike, James. Look, grape is always jelly. No such thing as grape jam.
there we go.
That's
Yeah.
probably because the pulp and all that stuff doesn't work.
And the
well.
skin and all that, it might not work too well.
Yeah, yeah.
Although
okay.
they do have plum jams, and plums have skins
And
too,
tomato. Do
but
you remember I tried tomato jam here, didn't I?
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
guess what? It tasted of tomato. I think you pointed out.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Carl, we have the makings for a proper first PBJ experience for you and family. Okay, I'm up for it. I'll do it. I'll do it. You know I will. So I'm up for that. So yeah, Lord Gilchrist is in and shouting out to Cisco. Now, I thought you said or as in AWE, when in fact you said war, who are a band I'm very fond of, actually, War. And I'm just opening up Spotify now. I can't play their music, of course, because there's a problem with that.
And I'm not positive it was them, but I think it was.
I think Aviva has confirmed that. And there are certain war tunes, so to speak. The Low Rider is superb, isn't it?
I always get the two mixed up. I think they're the same song, but
Dance Floor Stormers. The Cisco Kid is a track of its own, and it's not one I've ever heard of theirs from there. I love Galaxy. I think Galaxy is superb. Low Rider is brilliant, and some of their other lesser known tunes.
I think you might enjoy the Cisco Kid. It's got some nice little hooks in there.
There are some seriously funky guys, aren't they? War, of course, and a very interesting name for the band too. So thank you very much. Hit the like button. Antonio F is here. I wonder if he did dance with anyone in Sintra at that event over the weekend. James, look, Viva, pleased to see you.
Hola, Viva.
There's one video I haven't been able to squeeze in, which I'd like to before we finish today, and that's Anna's from VRSA this morning as well, or overnight. And look at how many of these celebrities have you heard of? I'm going to test you now. Dougie is going back to the UK, where Burger King is very expensive. Another reason not to go, I suppose. And he has seen famous faces on this trip, which, again, a bit like food. It's all about context, isn't it? Have you heard of John Parrott? One famous face, one. No, for James. Have you heard of Stacey Solomon?
No. Are these Brits or like?
Yes.
I
They're
don't know.
British celebrities. Have you heard of Moira Stewart? Okay. Moira Stewart, possibly the most famous. Do you like the game of snooker? British game of snooker? Well, it's a global game, but I think popularized.
If I'm going to be honest, all I know is that it looks like it's on a pool table without pockets.
So no, then.
And sometimes just white, like a red ball and white ones or vice versa. That's pretty much all I know.
Right. You're excused that exercise, but I reckon I know those names. Thank you, Doug, for doing your celeb watch. You know, maybe to extend to a gossip column as well as your wonderful 2-minute tasters and your writings in the Portugal news. Morning, Portugal, from the Squire of the Shires. Good morning to you, Squire. Morning, Squire. Excellent to see you here. Now, James, what's been on your mind in this last
Well, we were talking last week about our trip to São Martinho de Porto, and we ran out of time, so we said we'd do a part 2. So I'm prepared to finish that. You'll have to excuse me. My head's been a little clogged up this week, so.
Have you got a Dr. Bayard handy?
I don't. I haven't purchased
You of all
any.
people, come on.
I can't stand the idea of eating a candy-eyed slug, but
Oh yeah, fair enough. Sorry about that. Okay,
No,
SMDP, we'll have Anna with us, who will also. We've not seen her since we had our San Martino de Porto weekend. So please indulge us, everybody, to talk a little bit more about the weekend, because we were cut short, weren't we, last week?
yes, well, not cut short. It just I was going on and on and on, which reminds me of an old dad joke too, but I won't tell it right now.
Okay. Do you like that?
So last time on a mindful adventure to São Martinho de Porto, we left James and Aviva at the train station in Caldas de Rainha, desperately trying to catch their connector train to São Martinho de Porto. But now I need to do a little flashback because on the train from Malveira, we were not able to identify that we were even on the correct train. So this is sort of the stream we were on. Like, there's two trains. Last time I had to cross the track, and I said last week, last time doesn't matter anymore, but that's what I kept saying. Last time we did this. Well, it turned out we took this train. They said to take this train. So I got on the train, but I still wasn't certain, because you know that feeling of somebody's giving you definitive information, but they may not know what the heck they're talking about?
Yes.
So
Exactly.
there's that.
I do it every morning.
Yes, there was that feeling. And I was like, okay. So we got on the train we were told to get on, and it was at 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday. There were like 3 people on the 5 cars. You know?
I'm sure it was very atmospheric.
It was very quiet on that particular train. And I moved up to the engine compartment, thinking, well, maybe the driver will be there and I can ask him. He'll know where the train's going, I hope. You know? But I was just about to the door was ajar, and I wasn't sure if anyone was in there. I was about to look in there, and this one guy in the car who was sitting, well, he was behind me at that point. He said something to me in Portuguese, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's has someone who helps on the train. I don't know. So I looked at him, and he said something again in Portuguese that I didn't understand. And so fortunately, I memorized the Portuguese I only speak a little Portuguese. Do you speak English? And he said, no. And I said, oh, okay. Vai cada estranha? And he said, sim. And I said, okay. So
very good.
At least there was a passenger who looked like he knew it. He was very comfortable, just waiting for the train to leave, looking at his phone, whatever. And he affirmed that he was going to Caldas. I said, all right, so it looks like we're going the right way. So I wanted to include that we had mentioned in many of the small train stations, there's nothing that tells you where the train's going, what platform to catch the train you're getting. Also, there's not hundreds of trains going hundreds of places like in the large train stations. But it's difficult to know when you're just there getting on a train that you're even going in the right direction, unless you can ask somebody. And that's something the first time around. Last time, I memorized how to ask what platform the train to the location was, because I knew I was going to need that. So on the bus all the way to Malvira, and these 2 guys, when I popped my head in that time, they looked at me and said, okay, this guy's not Portuguese. What's he doing here? So I popped my head and said, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't speak much Portuguese. Do you speak English? They just sort of shook, no. I said, okay. So then I did the Portuguese I practiced and asked them which line went to Caldas. And they both opened their eyes bright. They both looked at me at the same time, and in unison they said, "Oh." And I said, "Linha 1." And they said, "Sim, sim, sim, sim." I said, "Oh, muito obrigado." So I knew that was not question. They were both certain at the same moment that the train that went to Caldas was on line 1. So being able to manage a little language when you're in the smaller stations is very helpful. You know, Orient in Lisboa has, I don't know, 12 tracks and trains going every which way all the time, but they have electronic digital boards that tell you what train is going to the final destination. That's another important piece. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, is knowing the final destination, because, you know, the first couple of times I was going to Porto and it said Guimarães was the destination. I go, well, which one goes to Porto? Which one goes to Porto? It's like, oh, that one, because Guimarães is the end of the line, but it goes through Porto to get there. So having some idea that way is very helpful. And again, what happened last time doesn't matter. So let's see. So we were on the train going to Caldas. We got to Caldas, and last time I had to get off the train and go across the track to get on the transfer train. Well, this time there was no train on the other side waiting, and there was no one to ask. And this is where we got left off. Aviva and I were in the ticket office with 2 scout leaders buying 20 tickets for 20 scouts individually. And I had about 10 minutes left before I had to get on the train. And it was looking like it was going to take about 5 days to get this done. So I was getting nervous.
A 2-day event as well, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. And the whole reason we left that early in the morning was the only train that would get us to Salmatino in time for the brunch on Saturday. If we took a later train, we wouldn't get there till the afternoon. So that's why we're doing that. I was getting nervous, and I realized, this is the first time in 2 years that I've been anxious about being in a hurry. So it was feeling new, but it was familiar, right? It's like, oh, damn, this is that American thing where you do this all the time, but I'm just not used to this here. And I actually got to the point, because it was one other person in front of us after the scout leaders, that I was going to see if I could maybe just squeeze my body in there and just say, I'm sorry, but is this the train to Caldas? Very quick, 10 seconds is all I needed. But I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be disruptive. I didn't want to be that typical American who just barges his way in to get his information. I didn't want to be any of that. So I, be patient, be patient. What's that mug say? Be Portuguese about it. So I'm trying to breathe and wait. And long story, just slightly shorter. Eventually, I got to the window. I asked the question. She did speak English. She was very clear. Because at that point, another train had pulled in, so now I didn't know which one. And I was able to ask a very specific question that I didn't have the Portuguese for, which is, does the train here go to São Martinho de Porto, or do I have to transfer? It's like, I don't know how to say that in Portuguese. And she said, yes, this one right here. And I said, okay. So I just get back on the train, reaffirm, yes. So the funny thing about this is, Aviva and I never had to get off the train. We could have just sat there.
You were right where you were.
Yeah, just sat there for 15 minutes and then head on to São Martinho de Porto. But last time we had to transfer. So,
yeah. Well, that is a stressful thing for sure here, isn't it? And it's a single track line, and you find yourself not in Orient, where you could look at a digital board and you're surrounded by a lot of people. If you're in a hurry and you're a bit stressed, you can speak in English. On these smaller lines and smaller stations and in the early hours of the morning, it's a little bit more stressful. And I think you would have been fine. I mean, bless you for not wanting to seem like a pushy American, possibly at your detriment and missing a train. But good on you. And you certainly find out, don't you, how much Portuguese you know when you're in a situation like that.
Yes, absolutely. And again, just in terms of mindfulness and approach to being in Portugal, I find it's always helpful to actually attempt to memorize the precise thing I might have to ask.
Yeah.
So if I'm the first time on the bus and I don't know what stop to get off at, how do I ask that question? I'm going to so-and-so, but I don't know what stop. Can you help me? Or something along that line. That's very helpful. So the first time I went to São Martinho on the train, I memorized which line is the train to I knew it went through Caldas de Rainha, so that's actually the destination I was looking for. That one thing is very helpful.
Can you remember it now?
Sí. ¿Cuál es la línea para Caldas de Rainha?
Very good, sir. Okay, excellent.
And that's another thing. It tends to stick when you're in that place where you have to learn it and you have to use it. It tends to stick, so you can use it again. And again, it's very helpful. Once I learned that, it's like, oh, qual é? That's a very good phrase. Which is? And then you fill in the blanks with whatever you need. Which is the platform? Which is the food you like? Which is it? So those kinds of things, you memorize one, and it can be applied to a lot of things that you may have the pieces to assemble yourself.
Well, this is what I'm sure Anna recommends, who'll be joining us at 9:30 with her approach to learning Portuguese. She's just appeared in the green room, and she'll be chatting to us in a moment. But yeah, I mean, basically, you're joining the dots, aren't you? You're making the dots. You're finding your key phrases that might be useful. You make a dot, and then you join them up, and it all hopefully flows together when you need it in your daily life here in Portugal.
Yeah, and eventually you have enough pieces that you can assemble your own. So I'm imagining a point that I'll reach where all of a sudden I can say a lot of things in Portuguese that I didn't think I could say before, because I have enough pieces I can assemble them and at least get close enough. But usually I'm pretty right. I find out when I do that.
that already happens to you, though, doesn't it? I suspect have you not been in that situation where you've actually surprised yourself and you're almost like your subconscious, unconscious mind has undermined your conscious mind with what you consciously didn't think you knew, but out it popped at the right moment. Yeah, that is that a great moment.
Yeah, it really is, and it doesn't just pop out, but I can assemble it in my mind and then say what I need to say. But I don't ever find myself just sort of saying something, go, oh, I didn't even know I could say that. It's more like, wait a minute, I think I have the words for this. I need to do this, that word. I'm assembling it in my mind, and then I put it out there. And at the very least, it's understood in a way that people can answer me.
We will continue this theme of chucking yourself into the Portuguese life and the melee of sometimes that it feels like, and finding the words and boosting your confidence and your skills and your vocabulary. Let's take a couple more comments in the chat, and maybe let's go to Villarreal de Sant Antonio for a moment. And maybe James can pop a lozenge if he needs one whilst that is on, and Anna will be with us after that. So yeah, Anna in Ericeira and then Anna in San Martino de Porto will be with us in a few minutes time. Two different Annas. And we had a break in the weather here on Saturday, says Squire. In the UK, it was sunny and fine, so we had our bonfire. That'll be the traditional Guy Fawkes celebration, I think, in the UK. Shared food and drinks with friends. How very Portuguese. Hoping for the sun to break through in central Portugal from Christopher Whedon. Good to see you here this morning, Christopher Whedon. A bon dia to you as well. And Squire, making you feel welcome too. I don't know if you know each other, but like anyone who's on the screen here, now you do know each other when we're together here on the Good Morning Portugal show of a morning. Sounds great, Antonio. Is that the name of the venue? Now, this was when I asked Antonio if he'd been dancing in Sintra, and he said he went to a toy-free music event. I think he's referring to the legend, the Portuguese performing legend who is called Toy. Doesn't sound like Antonio is a fan of said performer, however. I think that's what you mean, isn't it? And interesting comment from Shelley. Good morning to you, Shelley. How lovely to have your company this morning. Haha. Responding to what you were saying, James, it's the answers that are discombobulating. So we'll go to Anna for a bit of Portuguese language and culture clinic on that. What to happen when you feel very proud of yourself because you've said, hola, bom dia, pode dizer um meu deleite, faz favor, and you hear something, it's about, I don't know, probably around 250 kilometers per hour, delivered to you, and you're just standing there in a stunned silence. So how to deal with that, Anna, might be the first thing to pick up on. And
I'm taking that as a compliment these days, as I realize that because I work on pronunciation a lot, so I try to be sound as Portuguese as possible. I know I still have an accent, but it sounds like I know Portuguese because of the way I say it. And so the Portuguese person that's listening to me then answers me in Portuguese. Just yes,
like, absolutely.
Oh, wait, that's the only thing I know how to say or understand.
And that's why you can't be too cocky in the street, isn't it? When you're passing an old gentleman and you just say "dia," like that, like an old Portuguese gentleman might say, and they'll think you're a local if you bust out a little grunted thing like that. But I love those, impersonating those little sounds that people exchange in the street like that. But that's going to get you into trouble in the way that Shelley describes.
Okay, start up a conversation,
and you'll be standing there going, "See, see, bom dia."
For me, it's like não percebo, não percebo.
Yes, Anna knows this, seeing the look on her face in the green room. Okay, just under a minute of footage from VRSA. Let's have a quick trip down to the Algarve. Thanks to Anna, the Swede in Portugal, for this one. Right, I've made a decision, James. I don't really like jogging or running, but if I can have that, I will go out running. That is the way.
You just
That is
head
the
out
way
your
to be
door,
a
and
runner.
there they are, ready to greet you. Follow us, okay?
That's a ticket entrance. I'm gonna visualize that when I'm putting my trainers on. That is what's going to happen. That is from Anna from VRSA San Martino celebration. She sent me this yesterday, so that was all over the country. San Martino celebrations with a running competition from Ayamonte in Spain to VRSA 17-kilometer run there with a lovely. Well, police, bomberos, everybody escorting that. I'm assuming there was more than one runner in that that made the 17 kilometers. But well done to that person at the front there. Okay, let's give her a nice big round of applause. Where's the button for that? There it is. And bring her onto the screen, and we'll take this off. Good morning to you. Hola, bom dia, Ana.
Olá,
Olá,
Ana.
bom dia. Tá tudo
Bem.
bem?
Muito bem,
Sim, muito
obrigado.
bem, obrigado.
And this is that
Okay.
moment, isn't it, that we were talking
This
about?
is that moment. See.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how do you deal? We'll talk obviously about the San Martino experience that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet in our own hometown here. And this is what greets us at the local supermarket. Look at that. I think they've run out of Jerapiga, so they put some Moscatel on there instead. That's our town, and we'll talk more about what you do here and what we did last weekend. But discombobulation, as Shelley has described it, it's all very well being good with your Portuguese, but sometimes you're standing there in what seems like a tirade of Portuguese words.
Not so
can't-
combobulated.
Yeah. I can't agree more with James on that. In the sense that take it as a compliment.
Yeah,
The
well,
day they don't switch to English when they see or hear you is the day you have to celebrate, because it means that you uttered whatever you uttered was that whatever you uttered was Portuguese sounding. So that's a great compliment. And then after that, it doesn't matter, but it's not a test. Again, we're not at school. People won't have a look at you and no, wait, you won't be punished if
true.
you
I think it's
if
funny
you
because it's true. We're not, are we? We think we
no,
are
we're
sometimes.
not.
We're
No,
conditioned,
it's
aren't we,
not a
for the
test.
first however
Yeah,
many years
we
of
go,
our
oh
lives.
no, now I have to, I have to, you have to nothing, just
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. You have to do absolutely nothing. You can just say, oh, mais devagarinho. I always say devagar, mais devagar, so slower. And
Yeah.
devagarinho is what they say. They like to make it smaller also, always. These words, or no, longer, but then they mean smaller. But
Diminishing.
so
Yes.
yeah,
A longer
yeah.
word to mean something smaller.
Don't they?
Brilliant.
Devagarinho, like the inu and the inya is always to make something smaller, like it's a
Yes.
diminutive, but
That's
it makes
right.
the word so long. So which is okay. This
That
is
is so
my
brilliant. That is a gem today because my mum gave me the name Carl so that
Yeah.
nobody could shorten it. She didn't want my name. She thought of Charles and she didn't want it to be Charlie
Yeah.
or Chaz. I come to
No.
Portugal and now I'm
Carlitos.
Carlitos. So
Yeah,
yes, you're
well,
absolutely right.
yeah. So, but it's also that is a compliment, because when people say that to you, it's a sign of sympathy, of course.
Term of endearment.
Yeah.
It's
So-
absolutely,
Aw, there he is.
absolutely, it's something that exists in Dutch.
Carlito.
Yeah, but we use it in Dutch too.
Oh, really?
Diminutives. Yes, we
Right.
use a lot of them in Dutch, lots of them, to make things not only cuter or smaller, but also to show, a sympathy, or to make, like for example, like a question or a demand a bit more polite, a bit softer. So we use diminutives a lot in Dutch. So I'm quite familiar with the inya and the inyo. Sounds normal to me, but still. So
Hold
we were
on a
not
minute.
talking.
This is
Yeah.
fascinating because what
Is
is,
it?
I
Okay.
think is great here is that everyone's thinking of their local equivalent, aren't they? It's like, so
Yeah.
how would the Brits do that? I'm thinking, and James presumably is thinking, how does the American do that? So what was the scenario described there, where you want to be direct, but you don't want to be so direct as to be rude, so you kind of soften
No,
it up
yeah.
a bit, but still fire in the.
That's the way you use diminutives sometimes, just to make things like we would say, uh, um, m- maybe there is more like a conditional in English. I'm trying to look for the equivalent. You could say, "May I ask a question?" or something instead of, "I have a question," something like that. And we would
Oh
in fact
yes.
say, "I have a little question." And so the little or the vraagje is a diminutive that makes it a bit less problematic.
Yes, I love it. And the British would be saying something like, "I
Yeah,
hope you don't mind me saying this."
something like that.
They're
Yeah,
about to be
yeah,
really rude, whereas Americans
yeah.
might just say, "Look, listen up."
Yeah, they blur it out. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
cultural thing, and
Look.
the Portuguese love to use
Hey,
the
now
middle
that's so
to compliment what they do.
stereotypical.
Yeah, well,
Well, says Anna.
Just call them as we see them.
we
Oh,
always
brilliant.
have to be careful with those things. But it's true that you could, yeah,
What a great
you could draw
observation.
a picture of the American saying, "Listen up."
Oh, absolutely.
You couldn't.
Yeah, yeah.
You could draw a picture of the American saying, "Might I interrupt?"
No.
uh, yeah, doesn't.
We might
No,
say, I have a small question for you. We
yeah,
might say that. The
Yeah.
polite,
yeah.
those polite Americans would use things like that.
They
Are you
would.
British? Like,
Are you
oh,
British?
I say, old chap. That you know bad news is coming, but it confuses the mind, doesn't it? Like this person sounds like they're being polite and nice, and that I think that's that's part of the psychology of this, isn't it? It's like the feedback sandwich,
Oh, yeah.
compliment, slagging them off, another compliment. People don't quite know what's going on until they're 5 or 10 minutes away, and then the reality of it occurs to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Okay,
the I don't mean to is exactly the announcement about what I'm just about to do.
oh, I
Indeed.
don't mean to be rude
Yeah.
here. Yes,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
I
Don't
don't,
think,
I
yeah.
hope this isn't offensive, but
Yeah.
Yes,
that
yeah.
could, yeah.
Mhm.
Superb. So we've yet to really get into the nuance of that in Portuguese, I'm guessing, apart from what
Mhm.
you've just said, Anna, which is, how there is the diminutive and how interestingly it's longer than the
Yeah.
original to make it a
Yeah.
diminutive.
I don't mean to interrupt, but, oh, sorry. Just an
Difficult.
example.
Look, this was going back to your train situation, James. Believe me, they know you are American. Yeah, I mean, the problem with James, of course, is we need to coax him out of wearing a camera around his neck with a big lens and his Hawaiian shirt when he's out and about. But once you've done that, I'm sure you'll fit in beautifully, James. So, Anna, so
I
much.
thought that was a Portuguese look. No,
Nah.
Not so
no
much.
wonder.
Maybe the data. I'm not so sure. But all of us, the last time we were together, here we are together on the screen. The last time we were together in person was in San Martino, the weekend before last. Anna, you did a cracking job, as these photos will now show us. Here, the immersion experience goes from strength to strength. I know that lady. She always seems to have a glass in her hand. People cooking things.
She does have a problem. No.
Johnny Cocktail. Spot the Johnny Cocktail there as well. And Mrs.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Some lovely faces. Larry and Linda, who were here earlier on this morning as well. It's going very, very well. Is it not?
Yes, it
This
is.
thing
It
we
is.
talked about a long time ago on the screen here, and now
Yeah.
it's a monthly reality here. Are you going to be doing this in more towns now? What's the next step for the Portuguese immersion experience? Where clearly people are
Good
having a great time.
question. Yes, I know. I have to start like broadening my horizons, or our horizons. We've got so many ideas and plans, but nothing concrete just yet because we wanted to do a bakery version. Remember that one? But
A
that
Concha.
didn't not yet. Yeah,
Okay.
not
Is that
yet.
up in the old town at Concha? Because that is the most beautiful
That
bakery.
was the idea, yes, but
Yeah.
for the moment, that's not yet going to happen. So,
Okay.
listen, let's make it a New Year's resolution.
Okay. Very good. I see what you did there.
Yeah. So we're having another one in December at the Baía Cultural. We'll have a Christmas version. Then
Ooh, very good.
yeah, I will have something Christmassy going on. And then with the Bahia, probably in spring we'll do because we wanted to do. I'm going to every way now. We're going to do the picnic.
Oh yes, of
Remember
course.
picnic
Picnic break.
version and the sundown. But the problem it was although it was an amazing weekend at San Martin with the Gampers, we did not have the weather for picnic.
We didn't, did we? No.
No,
Not even
that
close.
was not.
Yeah.
It was not an option.
Yeah.
So next time it will be a spring. We'll start that in spring again.
Perfect.
Have some have that, and then I hope indeed to be able to organize these things in other towns.
And
Yeah.
people will be asking who can attend. Now, interestingly, you had, I think, at least 2 couples who tied it in with either their scouting trips to Portugal or their early experience of Portuguese life. How
Yeah.
lovely is that?
Amazing, yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. And it was really, again, I know I always say it, but I'm always surprised also, because it just creates such a, you can see people coming in a bit nervous, and just everybody feels so at ease. It's been a lovely evening again, and what a wonderful people those Gampers. Yeah. So it was really, it was really a special evening again. Yeah. And
Excellent.
yeah, I feel, really lucky to
Well,
have these people coming from that far, or just deciding to come to San Martin for the weekend and then deciding, okay, let's stay, because that's 2 nights extra,
yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
they had to stay the Sunday night and then the Monday, because of course you don't drive back on Monday night after an evening like that. So that made it extra special.
Brilliant. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping this will be a tradition now for us, as strong as Magusto itself and San Martino Festa. And hopefully we'll have a similar weekend to the one we had the weekend before last every November. Maybe we'll move it a weekend forward so that it is actually, there might be better weather that comes with the San Martino Festa, Feira.
Yeah.
And then springtime, if we can tandem with you again and have people coming from all over the world
Oh,
to
that'd
be
be
with us.
lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if those
Yeah.
could be a sort of biannual fixture, I'd absolutely love that, because we had a great time
Yeah.
all throughout the weekend. Andy's got some great footage of
Amazing weekend.
fact,
Yeah.
do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I haven't downloaded it yet. But the footage from the kitchen scene, Anna, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
It was a packed kitchen, and what a beautiful kitchen it
Backstage.
is. Wait,
It is.
it was incredible, wasn't it? We've got this
It
beautifully
was.
architect designed hotel. He was the architect. He was Swiss. He moved to Portugal
Yeah.
and built the first hotel in VRSA, I think. Then he built this captain's residence, which is now a hotel, the Storytellers Hotel in San Martino de Porto. So inside the kitchen, there are marble pillars, aren't there? It's
Yeah.
just the most delightful, modern stainless steel and then marble and tiles from the original construction. And
Yeah.
there we were having the proprietor, Marco, cook for us. And you got to taste a little bit, didn't you, I hope, as well?
Yeah. I tasted
Good.
all of it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. He's a great cook.
He is. And then
He's
we
a
had
great
some
cook.
more of his cooking, didn't we? I mean, this was such like an Epicurean adventure in this last
Yeah.
couple of weeks. And the food and wine at this thing. Tell us what you made of this, because we saw each other at this as well, didn't we? Rui
We saw each
Cunha.
other at this. Yes. It's starting to. Yeah. Well, I was so blown away by everything. But we know the Storytellers Palace. We know it because we live here, but also because it's just this is this amazing and unique place, as you say, and you have nothing but the building, and then not to talk about the people who work there, the
Mhm.
proprietor, but also all the complete team. They are just so welcoming and warm, and you feel like you are part of the family when you enter the building. It is absolutely a unique a place. And then to have this winemaker who was also he was very nice man, wasn't he, Carl?
Great speaker.
He had
I really
great
enjoyed
speaker.
his.
He just is so natural, just the whole evening. And he told there was storytelling. There was storytelling. It was not wine pairing, it was storytelling. So it was really captivating to listen to him. And then of course, yes, the wine was yeah, was there was a lot.
I
It was difficult to, I have that picture I sent to you. Can you show that? I took
of
a
me
picture
sat there with
of you with all
hundreds
your
of bottles.
wines
I
in
think
front of you.
I might have deleted it because of how it affects my reputation publicly.
We did see that earlier
Yes, yeah.
last week, I think. Yeah.
How many glasses of wine were there in front of me at that point? About
I don't know. It was a
8?
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. 6.
4 of them, I think, were
So,
yours, Anna, on the other side of the table. To be fair,
yeah.
that was where we
Okay,
we
we'll
tried
accept that.
we tried 2019, I think. It was a Touriga Nacional and a Touriga Francaise wine. Excuse us for a moment to get all wine snobby, but it's very interesting to learn about wine because it gives you another access to the culture and the language. That's how I justify my very deep interest in wine. Anyway, and we also had
I can see Carl's school of Portuguese now.
He's always slurring.
One.
we had the bottled one. And when we had the just picked, and we were able to blend it on the table in front of us, and that was just part of a fascinating evening of 9 tastings and 4 or 5 courses of incredible food cooked by Mark.
9 plus 2, so there was in fact 11 tastings.
Good heavens,
and then there was the port, and then there was the aguardente. It was a lot.
I forgot about that for some reason.
And the rest of the evening.
And I should certainly be writing about the evening. One of the things that I found fascinating was Rui Cunha talking about the Portuguese euphemism for like not very good wine. And there's not very much not very good wine in Portugal, I think it has to be said. But when it's like something they're not entirely delighted with, did he call it the vinhos de piscinas, swimming pool wine? Swimming pool wine. It's just what you have when you're in summer and you just need something to refresh yourself with. That's what they call swimming pool wine. So we've learned some lovely phrases. We had fool's rain this morning from Bairandi. That's that miserly rain. That if you go out, you get thoroughly soaked. We don't entirely know why it's called fool's rain, but that is what it's called. And now vinhos de piscina, the swimming pool wine. Anything else that you picked up that you learned about the culture from the learned Rui, winemaker of the year 2022?
Top of my head. Because I can't. Not immediately. Well, lots of things, of course, but it was an evening filled with impressions, and he also invited us to come and have a look at the wine, or at the region. I think the region is an interesting and a very gorgeous one too. I looked it up. Looks really gorgeous. So I really want to visit that region where they make that gorgeous wine. And then apart from that, it was the people again. It was the ones that joined us at the table. I think deserve to be mentioned.
There was a lovely Gumper thread, wasn't there? I mean, there were some Gumpers who really kind of excelled themselves and distinguished themselves. Turning up on the Friday, and they were still here on Wednesday. And that was a change of plan. They hadn't planned to do so, but they loved the whole experience so much that bless you both. I think you get Larry won the wine tasting award. He has a very good palate.
He did, and rightfully so. And Linda was the worst on the table.
Is that right?
She had. I think she had. Yeah, she had nothing right. But listen, she got the bottle. No, it was a wonderful evening with lovely people. What an amazing.
If you're one of those Gumpers who is thinking to themselves, hold on a minute, they filmed us in the Gatsby bar on Saturday afternoon. I'm hoping this will work okay. This is a little short promo sequence, as you can see on the screen there. And I'll see if I can give this a spin on full screen. Did you hear a little burst of music just now? Did that come through? Oh, okay. Well, let's just see if this works then. This is what I think they call the rushes from the film world. Let's see if this works. is that was the music playing? Okay.
Yeah,
Did we
yeah,
get
yeah,
these?
yeah.
Oh, good. Look,
Yeah.
Larry's here as well. Hola, bon dia.
Oh,
Gosto. So he's picked up a bit of the lingo, clearly there. And
yeah.
your review, Storytellers Palace family are royalty, one of the best experiences ever. And thank you, everybody who came to that filming sequence where me and Bobby skipped in like, what were they called? Morecambe and Wise. Yes. Morecambe and Wise coming into the room. Or gay dads, as Mrs. M is shouting out from the other side of the room. It was a real bromance thing going on, wasn't it?
There was a bromance thing going on.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and we did our classic scene, staring into each other's eyes, sat on the sea wall. At which point, I decided to strip off and run into the sea. I don't know if it was to calm my ardor or what it was. I'll let everybody else decide that when we see further.
Might have been the wine.
It may well have been the wine. Okay, Mrs. M up with a barefoot broadcast at 10 o'clock. What are you talking about today, Mrs. M? You'll have to shout it out for us. Or lean in. She doesn't know.
I do know. The law of attraction didn't work for me when spirituality goes bad. So if you've had an experience of using the law of attraction and you're dissatisfied, then join us.
Bit clickbaity when spirituality goes bad. Stick around for that at 10 o'clock for the Barefoot Broadcast channel, not over here. A few minutes to go then. Any other observations, James, from that weekend or the learning of Portuguese? Anything you want to ask Anna about immersion into the culture and how we can push it that little bit further, learn a little bit more, and express ourselves a little bit more?
No, mostly the memory, and I made mention of this last week, of being able to actually meet in person people that share the screen.
Yeah.
And I had a very nice extended conversation that was just, it's not available here, but it at least afforded me an opportunity to get to know her better and to get a better sense of what she's up to. And that was just really, it was that sense of connection that made it really special for me the weekend.
True.
Yeah.
Great. Would you come again?
Same here. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we should do that a couple of times a year. So
I thought maybe you were asking me to repeat myself. That's a phrase. Come again?
Yeah. That's also very British, isn't it? I think.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing I want to ask you about both of you is on Wednesday, I'm hoping to connect with Stuart of Spain Speaks. Okay, hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? Stuart of Spain Speaks in Spain, funnily enough. And we want to do a little get together on Wednesday. What's going on in Spain and Portugal at the moment? It seems there are a lot of people on the streets of Spain protesting. I'm not sure what I'm reading on Twitter is correct. I want to ask him as somebody who lives there. And of course, since we all last were on the screen together, our Prime Minister has resigned. And there are going to be elections in March of next year. The NHR is on its way. The golden visa has already been slaughtered or changed beyond recognition. And there's a 10% tax on booze. A lot's going on. What's your sense of that, Anna? I mean, to me, life goes on. That's the great news I'm sending to people.
Yeah.
It seems quite controversial from afar, doesn't it? But life goes on here in Portugal.
Of course it does. I don't think people are really, well, they talk about it, but it's not part of everyday life in Portugal.
So is it, surprisingly?
No, it isn't. I think that's typical. I think I'm not surprised. I don't think that the Portuguese are very much connected with all that's happening in Lisboa, for that matter.
Yes,
I don't think so. And I think it's typical also, well, unfortunately, for people who are struggling. Like they have their own battles to fight every day. And I think like elections and everything it's a kind of a detachment, which is not a good sign. But I don't think they feel like their voting changes anything.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I definitely get a sense of resignation. There's an awareness, like, oh, I know what's going on, and then there's a shrug, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
interesting.
I can't change it, so carry on.
I think but we'd have to ask Portuguese people because I don't feel comfortable speaking for them.
Well, this is coming from living with a Portuguese family and observing and talking with them about these things.
But I have the feeling that it's still very much ingrained in people's minds. Like we've had much worse, 60
Also
years ago.
interesting. Yeah.
But I think it's something that I know people, like shrugging, like, oh yeah, what's happening, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
but nothing more. There's no real indignation, or like, there is not, they don't
I
have the
think
sense
it's
of,
fascinating, and
yeah,
I certainly wouldn't want you to speak on behalf of other people. I'm very
yeah,
interested in your view as somebody who lives here,
mm,
and part of my motivation for asking is, let's say, and I'm in touch with people in the United States who want to move to Portugal.
yeah,
They hear that the prime
yeah,
minister has, if you just hear these
yeah,
key nuggets of
yeah,
information, and not through their own news media, through the grapevine on social media, the prime
yeah,
minister's resigned in a alleged corruption scandal. We've had the NHR is definitely going now. The golden visa went before. It's all to do with the social housing problem. Foreigners might be getting the blame for that. Road taxes going up. And those are not comfortable dots to join up if that's the only information you're getting.
true, yeah,
I was riveted to what was going on last week, hoping for this sense of excitement within the political world. And I noticed I was more excited about it than a lot of Portuguese people I know. And I was,
yeah,
people would say to me, "Oh no, I haven't even looked." It's like, and it's exactly what you're saying. From your point of view and from my point of view, that is what we're seeing, isn't it? Is like people are not
yeah,
necessarily that,
yeah,
or let me put it this way: they're not as bothered as we think we should be, or think they might be.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
have,
no.
there is
They
that
don't
sense of
feel like this
resignation.
is part of their reality.
Yeah, yeah,
And
And I get a very strong sense of the Portuguese
yeah,
culture as being very pragmatic. It's
yes,
mm,
very like what's happening now and what needs to be taken care of. What can I do
yeah,
anything
yeah,
about? And everything else is just noise for the most part. They may not like it. I've heard complaints. I don't like it. But again, what are you going to do? I have a
yeah.
yeah,
life I have to live, and that's what's important. So I'll do that.
Well,
yeah.
and who
But
can blame?
that's why we love them. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's why
Yeah.
we love them, because they live in the here and the now.
And
Hmm.
I apologize.
Um,
I apologize for being part of that noise that you speak of, James, because I know I have been.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'm going to treat you to some dad jokes. Mrs. M breathing down my neck as a nice way to go into the week here. This is not related to Mrs. M. My wife left me because I'm insecure. No, wait, she's back. She just went to get coffee. He says these aren't really dad jokes. I think they're brilliant this morning. When I'm loud, people tell me to be quiet. But when I'm quiet, people ask me what's wrong. James, you've probably had that from time to time, haven't you?
Hmm.
Look at this. Advice for a Monday morning. Keep the dream alive, everybody. Hit the snooze button if you're still under your duvet, or if you're watching this later and that's exactly what you did. Anna, thank you so much. James, thank you very much.
you.
Looking forward to us being on the screen together again soon. And join us for the rest of this week. We'll be talking to Mama Bear tomorrow. And I think we'll have some live hand pan music tomorrow as well. So a little treat for you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much, James. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in this morning. Take care and bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bom dia, Portugal! In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day